Hey everybody, welcome back to James Draws Everything. I am James, and today we're continuing with our Drawing Every Country in the World's Flag series. Taking a little detour, going back into the South Pacific today. Can't even see it on the map, I don't even know why I bother pointing it out, but we're going to be doing Tonga, the Isle of Tonga. Alright, so Tonga's about a third of the way from New Zealand to Hawaii in the South Pacific. And I think Tonga's a pretty cool country. I only knew about countries like this when I was a kid, just from watching wrestling, and we'll get to that in a bit. So just to start off here, Tonga does have a bit of a longer flag, which the Philippines also did, so I'm just gonna drag those borders down a bit. It does have a simple flag too, so you know what that means. And I already hinted at wrestling in this video, so you're gonna get some get a little wrestling themed bonus content here. Let's just get this out of the way first. Okay. So as I'm doing this, Tonga, they believe humans settled it around 1000 BC. You know, kind of in the South Pacific there, way far away from the rest of the world and the goings on there. So didn't really have a lot of interaction with the rest of the world until modern times. Tonga, though, and I'd like to learn a little bit more about this. Tonga had quite an empire in kind of that pre-modernity sort of times. So the Tuai Tonga was the centralized king of the Tongan Empire, and that Tongan Empire actually spread all the way to Polynesia, Melanesia, Micronesia. So you had a pretty big South Pacific empire that the Tongan people built. So that's kind of cool. I would definitely like to know more about that. You really don't hear South Pacific island history that much. You don't hear too much about that, like in your history classes or anything, but it sounds interesting. So yeah, they spread a pretty big empire around. The empire started to kind of lose its strength a little bit in like the 1500s. In the 1600s, the Dutch arrive, so European powers start kind of spreading out into the Pacific to establish trade, see what's out there, you know, see if they can build a foothold in that part of the world, you know, for mercantilism. Then the British arrive after the Dutch. And then kind of in the 19th century, there's a lot of civil strife in Tonga, a lot of warring tribes and chieftains kind of fighting over the country. In 1845, there's King George Topoi. He kind of becomes like the father of modern Tonga, and Tonga is recognized as an independent country as far back as 1875, but they do remain under somewhat of like a British protectorate until 1970. 1970, Tonga kind of officially joins the international community, and they're recognized as a fully independent state, so kind of severing their ties from the British Commonwealth, and they have been an independent state ever since. And yeah, the flag, pretty simple. So as I'm just gonna get rid of my guidelines here, and as I'm doing that, so the monarchy of Tonga, it's actually one of the oldest monarchies in the world. So to hold like a political power in Tonga, you must be one of the nobles. You know, and that stretches back over a century to King George Topoa's time. So that monarchy, it still stands. However, in recent times, I believe like around 2015, Tonga actually elected their first non-noble prime minister, and the country has adopted more of like a constitutional monarchy. So it's not just like an absolute monarchy anymore. They do have a parliament. Again, they do have a prime minister. But the nobility of Tonga still does have a lot of political power to this day. And I'm okay with that. You know, they're the people that built the country. They're the ones whose bloodline stretches back to the origins of Tonga. So yeah, that's Tonga. Pretty simple flag. So Tonga is actually very Christian. So the cross, I don't really have to explain what that means. It represents Christianity. And the white represents purity, and the red represents the blood and the sacrifice to gain independence. Actually, it doesn't in this case. I bet you thought it did, though, right? Because that's what the red means on every flag. In Tonga's case, the red actually represents the blood and the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. So a little bit different there. That's the flag of Tonga, and you know, I'm a big fan of Tonga, and also I'm a big wrestling fan, and I alluded to that earlier in this video. And some of the most badass, toughest wrestlers in the world came from the South Pacific. You know, you always heard about wild Samoans. I guess today they've got like what are they called, the Samoan dynasty, or the bloodline? Is that what they're called? So you got those guys. Fiji, right? Fiji in the South Pacific. Fiji's Superfly Jimmy Snuka. And Tonga was notorious for Haku. Alright, so let's draw Haku here. Alright, yeah, so when I was a kid, you know, I was interested in geography at a pretty young age. You know, I'd look at my globe and you know, just imagine what these places were like. No internet back then, right? So I had to make up my own backstories and stuff for this country. And a lot of these South Pacific islands, you know, I only knew about them through wrestling, right? Because you never would be walking down the street and meet somebody that was, you know, from Tonga or something. So I thought these were like make-believe places until I saw them on the map. And yeah, so Haku, Tonga's gift to the Western world. You always hear incredible stories about this man, one of the absolute toughest human beings on the face of the planet. You know, and I kind of alluded to this in some of our other, like our South Pacific episodes. You get some big boys from that part of the world, right? So, you know, a lot of fish in the diet, you know, leads to unfortunately it leads to obesity. You know, Tonga's a lot like Nauru, one of the most obese countries in the world. Don't tell Haku I said that, because I don't want him to kill me. But yeah, just all around though, easygoing, friendly people. And yeah, so Haku was the king of wrestling for a while, if you remember King Haku. So we're going to draw Haku as king of Tonga. Now, is Haku part of the royal bloodline of Tonga? I don't know. But yeah, he again, this guy was an absolute terror in the ring. Maybe not in the ring as much as out of the ring. You always heard these insane stories of Haku going to bars, right? And nicest guy in the world until somebody started messing with him. And yeah, it would take 15 cops to bring him down and tasers, and it still wouldn't do it. So that's pretty much all I knew about Tonga for the longest time. Is that's and Haku really was from there. He was like a professional sumo wrestler, right? So he kind of put Tonga on the map for that. just gonna do a quick one here. Yeah, so whenever you hear, because I like to watch, you know, when they interview the old guys, like from when I watched when I was a kid, you know, the conversation always turns to like, oh, who was the toughest guy that you've ever seen? You know, there's got to be a lot of tough guys in wrestling, a lot of ex-football players, a lot of former, you know, Ultimate Fighters, and didn't matter who you ask, the answer was always Haku, 100% of the time. so I think so. Yeah, I'm not gonna try to make the country of Tonga angry for fear of Haku. And yeah, I remember Haku too. He wrestled at a time when Andre the Giant was there and stuff too. And everybody still says, nope, Haku was the toughest wrestler to ever exist. So Haku with that South Pacific DNA, you know, like I said, ex-sumo wrestler, big stocky dude, and you know, from all accounts as well, you know, just very, very friendly, nice guy. Just do not cross him whatsoever. Apparently bit some guy's nose off at a bar fight once. Now, if you're at a bar, you know, I get this was back in the day too, when wrestling was more protected, you know, as far as like you know, they didn't go out in public and you know, state that, you know, everything's predetermined, and you know, it's entertainment, right? It's not an actual sport. What we're doing is for show. We still get hurt and stuff, but yeah, this isn't like we're not really fighting. So you get, you know, the boys, the wrestling boys, after a hard day at the office, after a rough day doing their matches or whatever, you know, they'd hit up the town just like anybody else, just like an NFL team, or you know, just like a baseball team would. And whenever you hit up the town and you go out to the bars, there's always that one guy, right, who's gonna test you, right? The local tough guy who sees what he calls, you know, that crap on TV, that phony stuff, and he wants to see just how tough those those wrestlers really are. And on a bad night, you know, if he'd be very unlucky if Haku just happened to be on the show that day, because yeah, again, Haku would tear you limb from limb. And then I remember too, Haku later on, when he was Ming in the WCW, right? He had the Tongan death grip for his finisher. So he would just he'd just take the guy, he'd give like a, you know, like a nerve pinch or something, and he'd just do like this crazy battle pose, and then just grab your neck until you quit. So the Tongan death grip, Haku, he was infamous for that. Yeah, so a lot of tough people from that part of the world. So we're gonna honor Haku. Again, I don't know if he really was if he really was of the Tonga bloodline, but he was king, right? He was King Haku for a little while in the WWF. So he got to wear the crown and all that, and he had people carry him to the ring on like a dai, you know, while he sat on his throne, and all the peasant wrestlers would carry King Haku on his throne. Okay, so Haku, one bad mofo. He's got like a little bit of, I don't know if that's a wrinkle in his head or just scar tissue, but then it's scar tissue since it's Haku we're doing here. Baddest man alive, and I think his sons are like wrestling right now. Or I wonder if they got his genes. Alright, so I'm just gonna bring some darker brown over to this side. just kind of darken up underneath the eyes a bit here. Then we're going to give him his royal. Actually, let's just color in some of that hair. All right, and then we'll do like a golden crown for up top. He's got like some jewels in the crown. Yeah, he was part of the Bobby Heenan family. I remember Haku. It's right back in those days. If you couldn't talk, they'd give you a manager, right, to talk for you. So who better than Bobby the Brain? Now Haku, he could speak English, right? I think he lived like most of his life kind of like in Florida, actually. So it's not that he was he played like the savage Tongan Islander on TV, but yeah, he'd been in the States, I think, for some time. He just wasn't much of a talker, right? He got his business done in the ring. So we had Bobby Heenan talk for him. Alright, everyone. So that's King Haku. That's Tonga. Tell me what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I will catch you on the next video.